Last week on Elevating Men.
Right there. Just looking at you makes me angry. And I'm really talking to the fellas out here because I really want to know, fellas, have you ever just looked at the woman in your life and just started frowning and just got angry? Or ladies, have you ever just walked into the room and saw him just start frowning? His whole demeanor just went, ugh. It's like, why are you breathing? You know, it's like, chapter 2 actually basically said that I want to be the number one person in your life. You know, the way you treat me, you love me, but you'll do anything for me, but there's nothing in the world that you won't do when I ask or don't ask, but you do that for everybody else. What makes me different? What makes me special? What makes me the person in that particular person in that when people are in a heated argument, especially when there's love involved, emotions involved, when people are in a heated argument, sometimes someone goes a little bit too far. And when someone goes a little bit too far, then the defense mechanisms come in and the attack, the counter attack comes back. So words are being thrown in ways that, hey, I don't care how they cut you. I don't care how deep they cut you. You about to hear what I feel. No. Better yet, you about to feel what I feel through my words.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Elevating Men. Listen, last week the show was fire. You got to go back and watch it. You can check us out on YouTube at Elevating Men. We are in the midst of our book club where we're going over 10 reasons why I refuse to say that I love you. It was written by A.L. Boykin, who's my partner in crime over here. But we also have a new special guest. I call him Marcus. Everybody else calls him Big Unk. I actually met this brother on the Hit stage play. It was a hit, I'm telling you. That we just did a couple weeks back. And man, he's a man of many talents. He's a man of the cloth. He's a man of God. And so he's going to add a lot of value to the conversation. How you doing this evening?
Andrew, before you start, Big Unk, am I the only one that current
Oh, you talking about the music?
Yeah.
Are you hearing some music in the background?
Yeah, I still hear the music a lot.
Okay, I'm not hearing it on my end. Let me check something.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
It's good.
Big Unk, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm happy and blessed to be here with you all.
Love it. And so we're going to jump right into it. We don't want to delay. If you're already tuned in, make sure you share this with your network. This is going to be a great conversation. We're going to really dive deep into how men really, like the brutally honest truth about how men view relationships and why they end up falling apart and not working in the long run. And so, Big Unk, I sent you a copy of the book. I know that you watched last week's show. Give us your perspective. What's your take? Any questions? Any comments?
How much of myself am I allowed to be here?
100%.
Okay. No, hand me the remote. So I feel like it hit a lot of truths, while at the same time, this is just my own phrasing, and it's not to the other one. It's not to take anything away from anybody, but it kind of takes a Tyler Perry approach to manhood, where we see a lot of the magnifying glass being put on the man in our negativity, but it's not too much being put on the men that have already accepted or grown past the obscurity that we've had to deal with growing up.
It's a good comment.
Excellent.
Andrew, as the author of the book, what would you say to that thought?
He's 100% right on point. And the reason why the book is written in that sense is I was that guy who had not grown up, who had not grown past my pains. And I didn't recognize that until late into my 40s and early into my 50s. So The book was written not for those guys that have transcended, have elevated, have gotten through their pains. The book
Mm.
was written for those persons who have not even identified their pains, and specifically, it was written for those persons who have to deal with those guys who have yet to identify their pains.
Love it, love it. If you're just tuning in, I want you to go ahead and give us a like, a heart, a thumbs up. Let us know that the audio is good. We want to make sure that you hear every bit of this conversation. Also, for those of you that missed last week, this is the book that we're talking about, which is Top 10 Reasons Why Men Refuse to Say That I Love You. It's written by A.L. Boykin some years back. You definitely want to grab a copy. We have a standing offer that if you're on the live stream, this is the only time that you can get it for free, but if you're on the live stream, drop your email in the comment section and we'll email you a copy of the book so you can follow along with us. Outside of that, they can also get it on, I believe, what, Amazon, where else?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Amazon is the least expensive, but yeah.
Perfect, perfect. And these are the chapters. And so last week we focused on chapter 1 and 2. Chapter 1, Just Looking at You Makes Me Angry. There was some good conversation around that. Again, you can see that on the YouTube channel of Elevating Men. And then chapter 2, I Got Your Number 1, and that's my longest finger. We know which one that is and what it means. Today, we're jumping into chapter 3 and 4. So chapter 3, You Have Changed. And chapter 4, I Can't Stand Your Tail Either. And so, Andrew, break down chapter 3 for us. What are we talking about? Let's get into it.
So, quick recap. Chapter 1 talked about my lust, and that lust was for peace, P-E-A-C-E.
Yeah.
My confusion was that I was confusing P-I-E-C-E-S's pieces for peace, and those pieces came from everywhere. Chapter 2 said that I got really, really comfortable on those pieces because they felt good. And I began to accumulate many pieces because I got greedy. I liked those pieces and what they were doing for me. Now, chapter 3 says that you've changed. And instantly it goes into, for those who are following in the book, let's see here. Chapter 3, where are we at chapter 3? Chapter 3 basically starts out saying how, your sexual performance has changed. You don't even give me that cockeyed look anymore. Me and you, we were like getting it in when we first met, and all of a sudden, everything just dried up.
Okay.
You've changed. You have, not me. You've changed.
So let's start there. Let's sit there for a second. You have changed. So I talk to a lot of men and they say the exact same thing. When we first meet, it's hot and heavy. Look, anytime I want it, I can get it. She's always affirming me. She's, boosting up my manhood, blowing my head up. And then as soon as you get comfortable, maybe you move in, maybe you get married, whatever it is, all of those things tend to stop. And so for the ladies that are tuning in, if you could just drop in the comment section, have you ever been that woman that, hey, when you were hooking them, when you were reeling them in, it was whatever. But then as soon as the commitment came in, maybe some things changed, and we want to know what that is. We're looking for some insight. And so, Big Unc, I'm going to go to you since you're the guest. Have you ever been in a situation like that, and what do you feel the root cause of it may have been?
Yeah, so quite honestly, my philosophy is that people. So my philosophy is that people don't change. When I first invite you over to my house or anybody's house for this nature, and we understand this, especially in Black culture, is that you're first invited to the front porch. You know what I'm saying? You're not even allowed in the house. Once you do be welcome to the house, then at that point you might get the bathroom. You get what I'm saying? You may get the kitchen just so I can give you something to drink. And so we think that people change, but really it's not that they change. It's that you've slowly been introduced to other parts of the house. Now, after you come over like 2 or 3 times, we're going to tell you, listen, you go get your own glass of water because you're no longer a guest. Now, you part of the family. But at some point, you come over often enough, you get to see that other room. You get to see that closet, that other bedroom that nobody else knew about. And at that point, you see where I stash my dirty clothes. At that point, you see that the dirty dishes is not on the counter, they're not in the sink, they're in the dishwasher. They still ain't even been washed. So a lot of times we think that people have changed when really is that you've become comfortable enough with this person that you've allowed them to see the other parts of you.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. So let me back that up though, because I do understand that, you know, the beginning of the relationship, you're only seeing what you're seeing. The person's leading with their representative. They're being the best version of themselves. You ain't seeing the dirty room, etc. But what we're talking about here in this chapter, correct me if I'm wrong, Drew, is the dynamic of the relationship as it relates to affection changes. And so we're highly affectionate in the beginning. As time moves on, the affection dwindles off. The woman becomes more closed and unwilling to give you the things that you're looking for as a man. We're trying to figure out where that comes from. So ladies, I know you watch it because I can see the numbers. Drop us a comment on why things change. Is it something that he's not doing that he was doing at the beginning? Was he whining and dining you and it made you more comfortable? You said, hey, let me reward this man with affection. And then maybe he stopped. Maybe he got comfortable. Like, what is it? What's going on? I want to give a shout out to Rhonda Carter. Always appreciate your support. Thank you. God bless. Got a comment here from Tammy Martin. She's also a great supporter. We appreciate you as well. Let's get her comment here on the screen. Okay. So she says, people are who they are unless they seek change. In new relationships, people put their best foot forward. As time goes on, the realness and authenticity bubbles up to the surface. Also, the chase keeps people on their best behavior. And so that was part of what I was saying. Like, do men, as men, are you noticing that we stop pursuing after a certain point in time? Do we feel entitled to your affection? What's going on? Niecy Houston, what's going on, auntie? That's not my real auntie. That's my play auntie, but I love her. She said, therefore, you stopped hunting me. I get it. You took me for granted. Okay. So, men, what's going on with us? What's going on with us? Why do we change?
So I like exactly the analogy that Big Unc used, inviting me to the front porch. I might take you to the guest bathroom, the kitchen. That's where I do all my magic. But I'm not letting you into the house. I'm not letting you into the house. You know, that 20% is where I got the wine, I got the strawberries, I got the chocolate sauce that I made.
Yes, sir.
And it might be a beautiful starry night, so we're gonna sit out on the porch and swing, you know, while I'm feeding you strawberries, and you just gonna be like swooning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because that's my 20%. But I'm not letting you upstairs. I'm not letting you in the basement. I'm not letting you inside yet. No.
Correct.
Yeah. Now, this is something I got to address because somebody asked me. They said, man, y'all been talking about relationships a lot lately. This is Elevating Men, and y'all supposed to be talking about mental health. And so I just want to address that really quick. We believe that strong men build strong families and strong families build strong communities. And the family is created by the unity between a man and a woman. And so until we can really fix relationships and what we see on social media, the bickering back and forth between men and women, we're not going to have a strong community. And so relationships are important. We got a comment here from Renee.
Can I address that before you get that comment?
Absolutely.
So to give you an example of why the book, another reason the book was written, we also talked about in Elevating Men in episodes before, how women actually discover that they are in relationships with men who still have their 5-year-old pain inside of them. And when I'm talking about not 5 years ago, but that 5-year-old that they still have not addressed. And that 5-year-old pain turned into 10-year-old pain. And that 10-year-old pain turned into teenage pain. But it all escalated, and he masked it so well. And she never realized that she was dealing with a grown, young, pain-filled man or a grown, pain-filled boy. And that is the health that we're trying to address also about regarding our mentality. This book is a journey into that mentality, so to speak.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was on
if I could.
Yes.
Here, top me off. If I could, something that I've realized in ministry, through counseling, within my own self, is that those things that we had no control over, that we lacked as a child, become the most important things as an adult that we seek after. And with men, as he said, that have not addressed those things that we lacked as a child, we carry those over into the relationship, and the relationship being the foundation of our lives, because people get it so misconstrued now that the home doesn't support your work life, it doesn't support your career, it doesn't support your goals. Your goals and your career and your work life support the home. The home is his heart. We're told oftentimes as young men that you don't tell nobody else what goes on at home. You don't cry to nobody else. You keep that at home. Well, as a grown man, the home becomes your heart. And so you don't go to anyone else about the matters of the heart or the affections of the heart. So we keep that here. So thank you, us addressing the relationship is a fundamental foundation block of who the man is.
Have for those ladies who have a copy of the book, for anyone who has a copy of the book, if you would join me on page 41 at the bottom, where it says, and I'll give you just a couple of seconds, but I'll read it. You can get to page 41, and hell is actually highlighted or capitalized. Hell. I still have memories from an early, excuse me, let me blow this up because my eyes are old. I still have memories from as early as around 7 or 8 years old, when the older girls first started teaching me about that unspeakable grown-up affection.
Yeah.
Just like he just got finished saying, things you don't speak about. Well, you talk, speak about these things.
Right. I was on a podcast over the weekend, and that was one of the things that was brought up. There was a video that actually talked about how, so basically the opposite sex parent is who you learn affection from as it relates to relationships. So as boys, we learn it from our mothers. As young ladies, they learn it from their fathers. And so when we look at our generation, you got to think of how many broken homes there were where mom is out working all the time. And so it's not that she didn't love you, but a lot of us men didn't receive that affection that we really needed to be able to grow into men and understand how to receive love as well as give love. And then we had a lot of women who were raised without fathers. And so when you combine those two people together, we're looking for things from each other in a way that we didn't receive as a child. And so it does create some issues for sure. I did want to address Renee's comment. She said, yes, I feel a man stopped doing what he did to catch her, then he stops. So then, like they say, I'll start treating you like you treat me. But I've definitely seen women get comfortable as well. We got Tammy Martin. She said the daily stressors of life in a relationship get in the way of the depths of that proverbial house being as glowing as the porch in the guest bathroom. Absolutely. Like when life gets real, it's different. Both people got to make each other feel special throughout the relationship. When it's one-sided, the other person will go find it somewhere else, and that's where some women mess up because they feel they're the only one that wants affection, but a lot of men do too. And so I want to go back to this one on Tammy Martin. I think there's a lot there. The daily stressors of life in a relationship. Can we talk a little bit about how we go from the courtship phase, the dating phase, to real life, and how that just really affects the dynamic between two people? Anybody want to take that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I promise. I don't want to feel like I'm taking over at all. But when we start addressing the fact that the way men start progressing in relationships, it often deals with where he sees himself able to provide or where he sees himself able to plug in. But if he doesn't see a place that he can be successful in that relationship, a lot of times he draws back. And I'm like, from personal experience, I was married and I married a woman that was a full package. And I remember telling her several times that if I can't help you progress, then I don't see a place for myself in this situation.
Definitely. I've heard women say that, there's a difference when, I'm picking you up, I'm taking you on a date. I'm not seeing all the stresses of your life. When we get together, we're each other's escape. But then when you combine households, now you're seeing, like you said, the dirty clothes, you're seeing all the stress, me just coming home from work from a long day. I'm tired. I don't have any energy. And so it's not, like you said, that we're seeing a new person. We're just seeing more of the person. And we're seeing that 80% of the life that they live outside of the 20% when we're dating.
So remember,
How? Yeah. Go
in
ahead.
addition to that porch and the daily stressors of life, remember, chapter 1 starts out saying that I am in search of peace. And that peace could have been from the daily stresses of life. The peace could have been from the noises in my head, the pains in my heart. That peace is from a whole lot of different places. So, one of the main reasons why I got you, which goes to chapter 2 also, was to address that peace. And that was just you. I had other methods of addressing that peace inside of me. So, chapter 3, I am now comfortable addressing my peace. You, on the other hand, you're changing. That change basically says that you're still growing. And for those who read the chapter, hey, I'm still stuck in 1968 because that is where my 20% is. That's where my comfort zone is. I don't take you into my job. I don't tell you about the pains of my job. I only take you to the kitchen so that we can enjoy peace.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we fix that? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark.
So, man, like this dude is awesome. Like legit.
Oh yeah.
This man is awesome. So, what I dealt with was I'm 40, just to be transparent, and it was a personal prayer that I made to God, and I said, hey, by the time I'm 40, I want to own my own house. By the time I'm 45, I want to pay it off, so on and so forth. But at some point, I had to address that I may be 40 in age, but I'm not 40 in the things that I've done or the things that I've accomplished. I played around. I wasted a lot of time. And so that also made me reflect back to the women that I've dated and dealt with and realized like there were so many women that I dealt with before I was healed. Mm-hmm. There were so many women that I dealt with before I had really accepted my own reality. Like you said, I kept them on the porch. And so they really thought that that's who I was. And when it rained, listen, baby, we still on the porch. Like, you just got to deal with it. But it wasn't the truth of who I am. It wasn't none of my vulnerabilities. It was none of me coming to my own self to admit who I was to me. At the moment that I admitted who I was to myself, then God was able to deal with me. Then the rest of society was able to accept me. Then I realized that there was all these opportunities that was out there waiting for me that I hadn't taken advantage of, but I first had to deal with me. I had to accept who I was and the things I hadn't accomplished. And I tell people now oftentimes that like, yeah, I'm 40, but really I'm in my late 20s. Like I'm accomplishing the thing, and it's not compared to anybody else. It's what I know I'm capable of, what I know I'm able to achieve.
And see, what he just got finished addressing kind of is how you started the book out. Meaning, what about the guys who have gone through that and have done different? So you've given actual examples of been there, but I didn't stay there. You know, I did recognize, I did seek help. I prayed to God and then opened my heart and found out not only what was in my heart, but what no longer needed to be there and what needed to come into it. You know, so those are the processes of next steps and stuff like that. Yes.
Love it. I love it. Really quick, I want to shout out everybody that is commenting. We appreciate the likes, the hearts, the shares. Thank you so much. We want to get more people involved in this conversation because it is important. One thing that stood out to me is that we come to women broken. We like enter these relationships broken. We're wearing a mask. We're insecure. We don't want her to see everything. I believe it goes on both sides. You know, sometimes women have their own insecurities that they hide. My question is, if we are transparent, and this is for the ladies that are watching, if we're transparent and the man says, listen, I'm broken, there's something I need to heal, there's some things I need to get over, there's some maturity that I need to experience, I need to grow, but I want to grow with you. Are you all looking for a man who's already there, like 100% there? He's coming to you whole, complete, and ready to move forward? Or are you willing to grow with someone? Because I see a lot of commentary on social media that says, hey, come to me whole and ready. I'm not trying to do a build a man project. And for the men, while they're commenting, for the men, have you found that when you are transparent and open with a woman, how is that received?
Well, it's been said several times that no woman really wants to hear you complain or, unload. Bishop said it best. He was like, You see, oftentimes people can be the dump truck. Don't dump your trash on my lawn. And so being transparent, if you're not careful to the wrong person, they only see it as you unloading your trash on their lawn instead of them seeing your vulnerability and you accepting them further in to who you really are.
Marcus, if you can, if it's too much, don't worry about it. But if you could maybe turn on your lights so people can see you a little better, that would help. Real shout out to Mike Patton, the fit pastor. That is our boy. He's a part of Elevating Men as well. Thanks for tuning in, brother. We appreciate you. Ivory Terry, she was also in the play along with Big Unk and myself. She said, "Hey, family, love y'all. Is this a good time to be saying love y'all?" It's always a good time to say love y'all. We love you too. So thanks for tuning in. And so what we're talking about, for those of you that are just popping in right now at this part of the conversation, is it okay for a man to be transparent about his vulnerabilities early in a relationship? Is that a turn off or a turn on?
No.
Do you want 100% honesty that he's building and growing, or do you need a man who's already whole and complete? We want to know where you guys feel on that. Got a comment from Tammy Martin, and I got you, Andrew. People who aren't used to peace, as in most of us due to our family or life trauma, tend to unconsciously do things to get their body, emotions, heart back to a place that fits into what they've come to know as their normal. Dysregulation and chaos are their normal. That's deep. That's deep. Andrew, what was your thought?
So I forgot exactly how we talked about this, but on the top of page 72, I think we were talking about, anyway, I'm going to read this because I forgot how the lead in was. But I expected and demanded that you still feel the same way you did about me when we first met 30 freaking years or 20 freaking years ago. I also expected and demanded that you silently and constantly enable my choice to remain the dinosaur. Damn it. Hold on. To remain the dinosaur. I also expected and demanded that you silently and constantly enable my choice to remain the dinosaur that I am. Yes. This is my truth. Hell, I don't blame you one bit. I don't even like my own lazy ass now. Now that I'm looking at myself this critically. So I forgot the question that you had asked, but I wish I remembered that question.
No. The question is just simply, is it okay for a man to come to a woman broken, transparent, and honest about where he is in life and that he's growing and he's trying to get there, or does he need to come whole and complete? You know, is my transparency going to run you off?
There we go. And part of my lie, part of my reasoning for only inviting you to the front porch is because it's not good for me to be alone, and I don't want to be alone. So I'm not going to necessarily show you my 80%. I'm going to not disclose instead of lie. I'm not going to disclose instead of lie, but I'm going to expect you. I'm going to expect you and demand that you be true to me.
Good double standard.
If you know what's crazy, being transparent, this is the first home that I bought. And when I first bought it, there was nothing inside. And he keeps saying the front porch. And man, it's crazy. Like, if I walk you through the house, there's so much work that I've done on the inside. But no one can tell that because my front porch now looks messy. But when I first got the place, the front porch was clean and the inside of the house was the messy part because that was where the work was being done. Is it okay to approach a woman and say, hey, listen, this is who I am right now. Completely vulnerable, completely transparent. This is the things that I'm working on. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm striving to get there. So on and so forth. I've done the work. I've done the tear down. I'm here. I'm level. There's nowhere up from here. It's only okay to do that if you're okay with receiving a no and still respecting that woman when she tells you no. I'm past that point. I've done that with myself. I'm ready to meet a man where I'm at, and that's okay. She has that right to to exercise, saying that right. But you as a man have to say, hey, this is where I am. And no matter if she says yes or if she says no, the work has to continue.
Exactly.
Mm,
Exactly.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
just again, just being transparent, that's what I had to do.
Mhm.
I have noticed that since I've gotten this project, the amount of women in my life it slowed down completely. Um, won't talk about my past, but the amount of women have slowed down completely, and it's not just women. The amount of company, period, has slowed down. I went to having 5 and 8 hour days to now having 12 and 16 hour days, and being happy with those days, knowing that I'm now reaching my maximum effort. Where before it was easy to be like, oh, I'm gonna put in my 5 to 8 and then call it a day. I'm a, saying, grab me a cutie with a booty and move on. And then when the sun come up, I do it all over again. But now I'm actually making a sacrifice. There's so many men that have not made a sacrifice in their life, and so they're not able to see what they could become. This is the stage where I finally reached where I'm like, damn, this is what sacrifice looks like.
Mhm.
Man, that's true. There's a Miles Monroe video where he talks about work before the woman. And it talks about how you need to be actually working on something and building your life before you go and pursue a woman. Because as we talked about last week, you need to have a plan that you're bringing her into. If she's supposed to be your helpmeet, what is she helping you with? And so, man, I love that you're at that point, and that's something that it took a long time for me to understand as well. I don't want to let the people in the comment section think that we're leaving them alone, because this conversation is about them too. It's not just
Yes.
us. They're here with
Yes.
us. And so, Tammy Martin. So the question that I asked, and I'm going to run down the list because a few people responded, was: is a woman willing to grow with a man, or does he have to be complete? If he's transparent and he's not where he needs to be, does that make you run away? Tammy Martin, she said, we're nurturers by nature. None of us are complete. And if we claim to be, then we're lying to ourselves. I 100% agree. Rachel Ecred, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. No, growing together is important. No one comes perfect. We got Renee. She says, I can do broken, but I'm not going to keep getting hit with wounds that I didn't cause, especially if I'm trying to show you I'm not hurt or the one that hurt you. That's a
Yeah.
big point. Big point. Nico Baker, thanks for tuning in. She's on the board of Lifted KC. That's a partnership that we absolutely value. So we appreciate you tuning in. She said there needs to be a plan and action taking place because most of us are not completely healed. It is okay. Absolutely. Mike Junk, what's up, nephew? That's my big nephew, because dude is it's a big dude. But he says, if you ask my age group, it's not acceptable. And so I would encourage you, Mike, if you could give us a little more context about that. I know what you're talking about, but for the audience, give us a little more context. In my age group, it's not acceptable. I know social media, if you get into that conversation, if you buy into it, it tells you that as a man, if you ain't got a six pack, you're 6 foot, you're making six figures and willing to spend it all, then we don't want you. That's what social media says. So give us some context there. Renee, she said, learning each other's love language is very important because that's how a person can show they love you. Let's stop right there. So in the book, Drew, you talk about sex expression. And so in this part of the conversation, I want to dive a little bit into, can we connect sexually too soon in a relationship and then it clouds our judgment or it creates expectations that shouldn't be there? Um, how does that play into all this conversation about meeting someone early on? You're wearing the mask, you're not showing them the whole house, you're not showing them who you really are. You're giving them that 20% that looks good, the 80% they don't know about. Does sex blind us?
So sex is not the blinder. The medic or the feeling that I get from the sex is the blinder. That's the medicine, or that's the result of the medicine. And when I say that, meaning we talked about can a woman help? Can you expose yourself and say, hey, this is what I'm building. Will you help me with it and all that sort of stuff? With men, I'm sorry, with I. This is why I crossed out the word men on the front, because I can't speak for all men. But on page 73 of the book, you see deep down inside, I know that the more time you spend with me, the more of that ugly 80% of me will surface. And then you will eventually grow tired and frustrated with me, just like I did. So before the other side of me is revealed, I jet. I either jet mentally, I jet emotionally. I haven't jetted physically because the sex is probably still good. In fact, before I even step to you to say something to you, or to lie to you, or to scheme on you, or scheme on getting you, I develop an exit strategy and an expiration date before I even invite you to that front porch. So that my point is this: even if I am inviting you into my house and showing you what I need, what I'm working on, what I am building, I still did not use the word we. I still did not propose where you enter into this. Only what kind of help you can give me. So that might mean that once my house is complete and you've helped me, that might mean that you never was that woman I envisioned sitting by the fireplace with me. So now I have a new dilemma on how to get rid of you.
Okay, so this one, this is a tough one, but has anybody in the audience have you experienced that? What are your experiences? Let's talk about it. Marcus.
Yo, like this dude, he really digs deep. Talking about when sex becomes a major player in the connection in the relationship, and the thing that I keep paying attention to is that this man in this narrative has still kept this woman at bay. She's still on the front porch. When sex becomes a major player, a lot of men are not willing to admit that this is the only, and I heard you say this on the previous podcast, this is the only piece that I have. This is the only piece that you give me. And so with that, it a lot of times it's hard, but a man will never actually like come to you and say like, yo, this is the only time that I feel any type of relief from life. And that needs to be addressed. If you, and it's not a scapegoat, but if you as a woman, the only piece you give this man is in the bed, then there's some things that's been majorly failed.
Exactly. No, keep going. I'm sorry.
So, did you have more to say on that?
No, I didn't want to be a run on that.
Talk. Speak your mind.
If I talk, I'm gonna tell the truth about myself. So I have often found that sex is an escape. It very much is, and a lot of men, if it was just the men in the house, which is crazy because men don't have a lot of places that we can unleash or dump, you know what I'm saying, anymore. We don't have a barbershop anymore. It's the internet has made the world smaller. So we don't have those opportunities to share. And because of men being absent, whether it's because he's still in the home, but he's at work more than he's at home, so he's not able to be that father or that uncle or that brother that you can go and confide in. And then when you look to the woman to be that mother figure, like he was talking about last week, you don't have any way of being able to say, hey, this is the only time that I get to really be myself. And so a lot of times, even as men, we're not even able to be ourselves sexually. A lot of women have not even heard they man when it comes to something as far as sexual. There's noises that a man will make when he's pleasuring himself that he'll never make when he has this woman in the room with him, because he still has not found that comfort or that vulnerability with her. And if he can't be himself sexually, he can't be himself naturally. And a lot of people don't realize that the sexual and natural is two different things. Just like the spirit realm and the natural realm is two different things, the third realm is the spirit realm, which connects to both.
So when we talk about mental health, we're talking about releasing. You just said that we can't release anywhere as men, and so a lot of times we run to sex as a form of expression and a form of release. And so if we look at our women as just sexual objects, that's a part of the problem. And I believe that there are a whole host of issues that stem from that. But let's talk about other ways that a woman can help soothe that inner beast within a man. What are some things that a woman has done for you that, really take your mind where you need it to be, where you want it to go?
This right here.
Bro, man, listen. Hey, ladies, listen.
This right here.
Hey,
Dude,
I was telling one of my homeboys. I said, listen, if she don't never
dude,
rub your head, she don't probably like
this
you that
right
much.
here.
Man,
Dude,
yeah.
dude.
So
Talk about it.
for me, I have a very colorful past. I've pimped. I've been accepted as an apostle. I've ordained as a pastor. I've ministered in so many different ways. Ran my own business, ran other people's business. Been in the military. Like I've done so much, but there's so much that I'm ashamed of. If I've just been transparent, there is a woman right now that has nothing financially to offer me. The thing that I'm holding on to is that from day one, the day I met her, she allowed me to be me. I could tell her every thought that I had. And listen, anybody that truly knows Big Unc knows Unc is Unc. Like, bro, like I'm everything you think I am, if not more. But this woman heard everything. And she thought even the greater of me because of the things that I was willing to let out. And the more she was willing to receive, the more I was able to tell her. And just being honest, like, yo, a lot of women, like, y'all think y'all pleasing y'all man, but really y'all not until y'all get into the inner part of a man where he's able to tell you everything about himself with no judgment. I just told a young lady earlier today that respect is given and honesty is earned. You won't get faithful for free, but my loyalty you will get with what you tell me freely.
Mike Patton got a comment up here about premarital sex.
All right, give me just a second. Let me get to it. For those of you that are just tuning in, we're going through the book 10 Reasons Why Men Refuse to Say I Love You, chapters 3 and 4. What are chapter titles for 3 and 4? I don't have it in front of me right now.
Chapter 3 is You've Changed.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now. That's where we're at. Okay, so Mike Patton, I got his comment now. So it says, the Bible says, he that finds himself a wife finds himself a good thing and is in favor with the Lord. For the Christian, the very first thing he should ask, Lord, what is it you have for me that will supply all I need that's in your will? Not my will, but let your will be done. Most men I know wasn't humble. I was Mr. Know-It-All, Mr. Alpha Male, who was ultimately going 90, going north, going nowhere. Women, you should ask, where have you been? Where are you going? Where is he going? And that cut off. So there's a limit to the amount of words you can do on the comment. I really am curious how that ended, but what were your thoughts, Drew?
No, I was talking more so about the premarital sex, how it brings about preferences and you pass them on to other women, especially when you have nice women in your life who are helping you rearrange and fix and accommodate and update that house once you finally let them into other rooms, but yet they will never be the woman of that house. And they will always wonder, why am I not good enough? Why? What's wrong with me? And then in the next relationship that they get into, they're beat down from that. I know I'm not good enough, but let me just keep giving. And you just see it in their eyes, even when you approach them. Yeah.
So let me add to that a little bit. So are you saying that a lot of times men get into relationships or situationships with women knowing that they have no intentions of making them their wife? It's not going to get serious.
No.
But the woman may not. What are you saying?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying not men. This guy. I can't speak for all men. I just know that because like Mike said, I don't know where I'm going. I don't have a plan. I'm still mired in my shame. My house it doesn't even have furniture. I don't want you to see what I'm not. I don't want you to see what I'm not, because if you see what I'm not, you're going to see what that other guy is.
Okay,
that's
that's big. Like we talked about last week, like you don't even want to take your woman certain places because she's going to see the man that's actually doing everything that he needs to do and compare you. But we actually have women on here who said, I'll grow with you. I'll accept you where you are. And so when a woman tells you that, do you actually believe it?
We believe it. I'm sorry, Big On. We believe it, but the thing is she doesn't understand what we know about the end of this relation or the how high the only place she could ever rise in this relationship.
And so that's the point. Hold that right there. That's the point that I'm talking about. And so let me back up. Do you believe that when men get into a situationship with a woman and they know this woman's never going to be my wife, we're only going to go so far. This is fun until the fun is over. But the woman has a different perspective of the relationship. So now she's poured herself into it. She's helping them fix the house. She's building them up. But then when the time clock runs out that he said at the beginning, hey, we're going to get this like 6 months. Now he moves on. And she says, well, wait a minute. I built this man up. I listened to all his emotional issues. I know that he was a grown boy. He was a boy in a man's body, but I accepted him and I loved him and I tried my best. And then he discards me as if I'm nobody, right?
Yeah.
And so then when the next man comes along, as we talked about at the beginning of the show, if y'all missed this, like y'all got to rewind it. But but then she says, okay, well, for the next man, listen, I ain't about to fix nothing. If you don't come to me whole and healed and ready to be a man, I don't want any parts of it because I'm not about to build somebody else up for them to go on to the next woman. Ladies, if you're still tuning in, am I speaking about something that you've experienced in the past? Is that a real issue? Let me know. Fellas, you got any comments?
Yes, sir. Man. Yo, speaking from my past. Point out my past. I used to only mess with women that I knew the reason why we were going to break up before we even started. So the expiration date, it was like shopping at the store. I saw that on the container when we started. I knew the thing that was going to end this before we started.
Yep.
I put the help one to sign out, and hopefully you get your stuff together before I hire the next female. And that's the way I used to function. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot for a man to come to himself and say, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. And this is what I'm dealing with. Instead, it's so much easier to just put it off on her and say, oh, well, we've reached our expiration date. Let's move on. Let's move forward. But at the same time, as a man, like we was talking about a woman approaching a grown boy saying that, hey, now I want to move forward with you. I want to help you grow. I want to help you be all these things. And then he using that woman to a certain level. And then he uses her as nothing more than a platform to jump off, to be that next great thing. And then she's looking at him like, how dare he? How damn this man go and become this level of greatness when I was his foundation? And that man never looks back. If I truly be honest, that man never looks back until he's sitting on the edge of the bed by himself. And we've seen a lot of great, I don't care. Steve Harvey has a track record of women that we've seen he's gone back and made them sign contracts to where they can't say anything. But he went back to date them just to say that he conquered them. Every man, any man that's worth his salt, has within himself that conqueror. We want to conquer something. A lot of men that are worth our salt, we were that guy. We was that man, that player, that dude, the one that everybody else looked up to. But it was for us, for that level of man, it was more about the hunt than it was about the woman. And when it becomes more about the hunt, listen, baby, I ain't about trying to get you in the bedroom. None of that. Sex is a casualty of who I am. And it's simply because I'm using you and I'm using the hunt to accommodate for everything else that I'm not achieving as a man.
And just to add to that, I'm not hunting after my plan and my goals. And so I need to hunt something because that's how I'm built. That's how I'm built to hunt. I'm a hunter. I'm a man. That's how I was designed. And so when we don't have a plan, we don't have a purpose to hunt or to chase, then we chase something that we feel is a little bit easier. It's hard to build a life. In some ways, it's easy to build a connection. And so Tammy Martin.
Mike would say, and forgive me, Mike Patton, for trying to use your words, but what Mike would say, if a man does not even have a conscience, because we talked about this with Adam and Eve, a man doesn't even have a conscience yet or soul. Gosh, and he gets that from supposedly a higher power or love or God, which is why reasons why I cannot say I love you, because what I'm doing is the first chapter, I'm lusting after you. The second chapter, I'm hoarding you because I'm greedy. The third chapter, I'm not changing. I blamed it on you. You're the one who's changing. I'm still stuck in the 60s because that's the only thing that works for me. So I am swamp filled. I'm lazy. I'm comfortable. It's not gonna happen.
And for those of you that are just tuning in, and those of you that have been with us, go ahead and tag your best friend. Like, if you're coming in at the end, we still got a little more time. We're gonna be having some more conversation. Tag your best friend. If you're coming in late, rewind it to the beginning, because this show has been amazing. I want to shout out a couple people real quick. Don't want you to think that we don't see you there. And we're going to address this one. Tammy Martin, so many are experts at cutting bait. That's what we've been talking about. And running as soon as life gets difficult, when staying and fighting for what we want likely gives us the goodness that we are all fighting for. Nobody wants to go through hard. Mike Junk, thanks for continuing to comment. We appreciate that. He said, not to say that women don't have their stuff together, but the ones nowadays aren't ready to hear us and work with us. And so we've got a man here that has been saying, like, listen, in my age group, women are not looking to work with you. They are not looking to grow together. They want you to already have it together. Then we have a lot of women here who have said, hey, I'm willing to grow with you. Just let me know where we're starting from. Be honest with me, and I'm willing to grow with you. Drew.
So, not to say that the women don't have their stuff together, but the ones nowadays aren't ready to hear us and work with us. Maybe, just maybe they were the ones that the other guys ran through. Maybe they were that said,
man, let me talk.
Yeah, maybe they were the ones that said, you know what? You want me to help you build. And what that says on your list is, not only do I cook with you, do I clean with you, do I sex with you, do I play everything but your wife? Not only do I play every role but your wife, you want me to do all of this before you decide on whether or not you want to keep me.
Now, let me ask. I'm asking you guys and the audience. Yeah. So I'm gonna throw a question out there, and then I want you to comment, Marcus. But I want to keep the comments going. Does that go both ways? Because we have a lot of women that are watching, and so, women, do you ever get into a situationship knowing, like, this is all that I'm looking for out of this, and as long as I get what I want out of this, I'm fine. I'm a grown woman. I can make my own decisions. I'm okay with this. Or are you potentially lying to yourself because you feel that, hey, this is what I can get. I'm going to take what's offered to me. Because that's just what it is. And so I definitely want to hear those comments. Marcus, what'd you
have? So to hit that real quick and then go back to the other, my body count is crazy, and it's nothing that I'm proud of. Actually, pretty ashamed of, but I'm not looking to add to it. And that takes me back to the other comment, which is that a lot of us women don't realize that the man that you're looking for is not looking for you.
Oh, damn.
If he's already accomplished and got all this, that, and the other, you ain't it. Just off tops. Listen, I've been on top several times, and when I got there, I didn't want nothing I was already dealing with. I didn't want nothing that I've already passed up. I didn't want nothing that already turned me down. I was looking for the next, and the next was not any woman that had her stuff together. The next was the woman that understood me, because I've already accomplished everything else. So as a woman, if you can't meet a man and say, hey, I'm willing to do the work with you. I'm willing to, matter of fact, go back to Pastor Mike Patton's comment, which was a scripture where the scripture states, a man that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. We have to understand that woman is already a wife. The man becomes a husband, and the husband is nothing more than a provider. But him being a man, the Bible tells us that a man, the steps of a good man is ordered by the Lord. So if his path is not directed by God or by a higher being, you know what I'm saying, we're just keeping this platform open, then he's not going to be the one for you, because nobody tells him he's right or wrong but himself. And whatever feels good to him is what he's going to do. Oh my God, y'all didn't tell me that this was out like that. So, listen, I'm big about how I look. Y'all could have said something. But if that man has nothing that's directing him but himself, that man ain't about to take y'all nowhere. The man finding a wife and that wife being a good thing, she's already a wife. She's already in a position that she's ready to add to. Matter of fact, not even ready to add to. When Moses found his wife, she already had a well. The well needed protection. If that man cannot come into your life providing the thing that is already lacking, that is in place, it has to be in place, but lacking a piece, then that man is not going to be part of your life. That man is not for you. You need to find the next man that has that part that's lacking of the thing that you've already established. When Moses came to the father groomed him so that he could be a groom. A groom simply means that he washes her up and brushes her off. So he makes her the best presentable piece of what she already is. And too many times men are not ready to do the work of presenting that woman as the best possible thing that she already is, because he still haven't found the best possible thing that he is. Moses knew that he wasn't a great man, but he knew he was a great warrior. Moses knew that he wasn't one to tell the truth, but he knew he was one to cut your tongue out for not telling the truth. Moses knew that he couldn't talk, but he could appoint somebody else to talk. So even if we, oh my God, if we look at that, we see that Moses knew that when he found a woman, that he had to find a woman that could speak for him when he couldn't speak for himself. Moses knew that he could find a woman that could be honorable enough to say that, hey, these are the things he's not good at, but this is what I provide. And Moses had no issue with acknowledging that. Moses' issue was never that. It was always the things that she never addressed. And we as men, when we don't allow our women to rule with us, then we allow our pain to rule over us. I'm sorry, I'm a digress. I don't want to be too preachy. I really don't.
We need to pass the offering plate on that, because
you just got us in trouble.
Bro, mic drop. I ain't even got nothing to say. I ain't got nothing to add. I ain't got no questions. You said that, and I agree.
So we didn't get into chapter 4.
I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. I promise.
Oh, you did. You did. Don't apologize. Don't apologize.
No, my Sunday's coming. My Sunday is coming.
Yes, sir. Nico Baker, she said, rub head, check. Yeah, Nico, I'm telling you, dude, if you really like the man, rub his head, bro. Like, you see what he's doing there? Them forehead wrinkles. That's that stress. That's that stress. You rub the forehead wrinkles.
If I can, how would she know to do that?
Oh,
without the verbal communication, how would she know to do that?
So the woman that did me like that, I didn't have to tell her.
Me either. Me either. It's an automatic thing. It's an automatic thing.
She saw the wrinkles. She saw the wrinkles. She saw it was not natural on my face. She saw that I wasn't smiling.
Hold on. Can you back up? You said not natural on your face.
Exactly. Because when I'm with her, I'm naturally happy. But today it's like, and she saw that and she said, no way, buddy. Here, let's help. Let me do this. Oh, yeah, there's that face.
A woman that's really into you, she's observing.
She's observant.
She's observing.
She knows when something's wrong.
Can I be transparent?
Yeah.
I had a date last night. It was a home date, house date. You know, I cooked. But I told her, I said, yo, I can tell you're not into me, and I'm okay with that. Because there was things that she was not connected into. Like you said, you know, she pulled the wrinkles back. That's because she paid attention. That's because she genuinely cared. But every man, I feel, has a physical key that locks into an emotional key. And if that woman is not truly into you, it's not for you to take offense. As a man, be mature enough to respect that she's not the one. And be gentle about allowing her exit so that you can have room for the one that is. One that will notice that that's your key.
I got a question. And this is not a question that you have to answer or anybody has to answer.
Right.
Are we gentle about letting her know that she's not the one before or after we hit it?
Okay.
So, I mean, I would say maturity would say that's a conversation that we having beforehand. Like, what is this? Now, as a younger man, it would be, hey, like, I got a goal. I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna achieve that goal. It is what it is. As a mature man, that's a conversation. Like, I think that's something that we do far too often, male and female, is that we let attraction rule our decisions, you know? And so at some point you have to slow down and say, hey, we're two mature adults. Let's talk about what this is and what this isn't. And from that point, in my opinion, whatever happens at that point, hey, you've made your decision. I've been open and honest with you. You've been open and honest with me. We're two adults. It is what it is. The problem comes in when there's lying. You know, there's oh, go ahead.
So who lies first? The guy who's at the grocery store and reads the expiration date on the milk before he brings it home, or the woman that says, "I'm gonna give
man, can I play with that
before it spoils"?
Can I play with that?
Go for it.
Those of us that actually, Lord, you are good. Thank you, Jesus. So those of us that actually cook understand that the expiration date is not an expiration date. That is a sell by date. So that in itself says a lot. So when, God, man, I don't want to keep referring back to this, but when I used to pimp, like there was a book by Fillmore Slim, Iceberg Slim, and it's called Mileage on a Hoe. And you can look at a woman and know how much further she has to go. The expiration date. We as men that are really men, which are the ones that women prefer, we can look at a woman and kind of tell, okay, is this the sell-by date or is this the date that she's actually going to expire? How much BS does she have left in her to put up with? In men, oftentimes, because you got boys and you got men, then you got real men, men oftentimes play on that until they become real men.
Good stuff. Listen, like, actually, we're a little bit over our time. Like, we can go a little bit longer because there's a lot of comments that we didn't get to. But for those of you who are tuning in, we appreciate all the love and support. Thank you for your comments, your shares. Like I said, tag your best friend. You definitely want to go back and watch this. We'll probably do a replay tomorrow afternoon for the morning crowd, and so be looking out for that. But Nico Baker, she said it. If you know you're only going so far, say that. And as adults, each can decide. That's maturity. That's maturity. See, Mike Junk, he said, no, there's way more to that. Let me know what you were talking about because these comments were coming in fast, and so I'm not sure what part of the conversation we were at there. LaQuina Renee Bolden, definitely check her out. She's a real estate agent. Follow her page if you have any real estate needs. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. She said, you ain't never lying, and I hate it. Set a business goal, not a coochie goal. That's right. Men, have a purpose. Focus on chasing your goals and your dreams and not chasing the cat. Yes.
Man, that's dope. I like that. Set a business goal, not a coochie goal.
So you said expiration date. You said sell by date. She said a use by date, being used. Samaria Hall, thanks for tuning in. She said communication is key. Golden. Absolutely. Niecy Houston, she said ghost afterwards. Okay. She also said you still have to be open to learn each other. All of these are right. Love it. Fellas, what are you thinking? Like, we've talked about so much. Marcus, you had a whole little sermon right there. I was feeling it. I might have to cash out a little something for the offering. What are you guys thinking at this point, man? We covered a lot. I think we were in chapter 3 and 4 a little bit, but I think we focused on chapter 3. You guys have any thoughts that you want to get out?
Yeah. So right now, if you have not picked up on the theme of the book, right now we talked about lust, and lust is not love. So I can't tell you I lust you. We talked about greed, and greed is not love. I cannot tell you I greed you. We talked about sloth. So I cannot tell you I'm lazy for you. And the 4th chapter is envy. You know, I envy every man out there that I am not, and I do not want you to see him so that you will compare me to him and leave me. None of those are love. All of those reasons I thought was the way that I was expressing my love.
Absolutely. So listen, we're going to wrap this up right here. We are still in this book next week. So Monday, 8 p.m., put it on your calendar. I'm going to create an event page. I'll send that out to all of you. But look forward to coming back next Monday at 8 p.m. If this is the only show that you saw, this is the second in this series. And so go back and watch last week. You can find it on the Elevating Men Facebook page. You can also go to our YouTube channel. Just type in Elevating Men in the search bar. You'll be able to pull that up. If you want a copy of the book, our deal is if you're on the live stream, all you have to do is put in your email address and we'll send it to you. Otherwise, you can find it online at Barnes & Nobles or Amazon.com. Big lump.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that honestly and truthfully that I'm not a big reader. I read articles, not books. But a good book to me is one that you can disagree with and it still pulls you to read the rest of it. And honestly, I wouldn't say this about many. I man, but this book is a book that even at the points that you disagree with, it'll pull you to the next paragraph. So like most definitely get this book. I hate that I had access to it freely. It's definitely more than worthy of being paid for. And quite honestly, even being a minister of the gospel, being an apostle, being an elder, being, you know what I'm saying, all of that, it is something that could even be a teaching tool in the church because a lot of times we cater to the women, but we need to build up that man. And this is a book that truly deals with building up that man, whether it's points you agree with or disagree with.
Thank you. Thank you. Nisi Houston
Absolutely.
made a comment. She's on chapter 7 already. Anybody reading the book? As we're
Stop
going,
skipping ahead.
as we're going through the book, if you have comments, if you have questions, you get on a page and you want us to talk about it, please say, hey, you said this right here. I experienced that, or I know somebody who experienced that. What are your thoughts on that? How did you feel? What was going through your mind when this happened? Let's elaborate on whatever you have thought about, because we're only talking about what we think is relevant. You all have experienced our pain, so let's talk about your experience of our pain too.
Yeah, and while we have this comment up here, for those of you who don't have a copy of the book, I just want to give you a quick preview of what you may be missing. And so I'm going to pull up the table of contents here, and we're just going to go through that really quickly. And so last week we did chapters 1 and 2. Just looking at you makes me angry. Number 2, I got your number. It's my longest finger. We went from that into chapter 3 today.
7 chapters. You need to tear the fuck down.
And chapter 4, I can't stand you either, which you just gave us a little bit of context on that. Next week, we are going to do a recap. And so we're going to talk about a little bit more about chapter 4 because we didn't get too deep into that. But the focus will be 5 and 6. It ain't even about you. And number 6, I'm not your roommate. That is a good one. That is a good one. Chapter 7, that's where Nisi Houston is. You need to man the F down. I think that one's going to get pretty heated, so I'll be looking forward to that one as well. Chapter 8, give me one good reason. Chapter 9, I don't believe you either. And chapter 10, D, anger, danger. Man, this is a good book. This is a great series. This is the beginning of the Elevating Men book club. And so this is something that we're going to be doing very regularly. We're going to pick a book every month and we're going to go through it and have these types of conversations. We want you to follow us along on this journey. So if you have any men in your life, there's something that I need you all to do for us. So this coming Saturday, the 17th, we actually have our monthly Man Cave Prayer Breakfast. We do this every single month. It's 100% free of charge. They don't need any money because we don't want to prevent access to anyone who needs this information. But we've got a very special event this month. We have Chris Dunlap. He's an expert in the field of tech, cryptocurrency, day trading, and investing. He's going to pour into our men because one of the things that we're supposed to do as men is provide. We provide, we protect. But provision is important, and he's going to help us learn how to do that at a higher level. It's 100% free of charge. Again, we're going to serve breakfast, and then we're going to get into that content. The phone number is on the flyer right on the screen. You can also go to the Elevating Men page to get more information. Have them RSVP. We'll have a seat for them, but we don't want them to miss out. And so make sure you share that with the men in their life. Unfortunately, it is men only. It's the Man Cave, but you have men in your life that need this information, and so make sure that they get it. Again, put it on your calendar for next Monday. We're going to be back here talking about this book. The other thing, we have another show that we started a few weeks ago on Sunday mornings. It's Motivational Moments with LaRon Barnes. He's a member of Elevating Men. He is a motivational speaker and a life coach. From 9 a.m. to 9:30, him and I unpack ways that you can reach the level of success that you desire in the shortest amount of time possible. And so we give you all the tips, tricks, tools, and everything that we know, and we try to pour as much as we can into it. You can always catch the replays on our YouTube channel at Elevating Men. Follow us along this journey. We have some big things coming up. And the last thing I'm going to announce, I'm not going to put the flyer up yet, but September 28th, be looking for it. You're going to see a commercial coming out here really soon. We're having a mental health town hall. This is an extremely important event for our city. Missouri and Kansas rank near the bottom when it relates to mental health access and outcomes. And so we're going to have a town hall event where we're going to have mental health therapists, advocates of mental health. We're even going to have politicians. We already have committed State Representative Mike Johnson. We also have Senator Barbara Ann Washington and many others who are going to be there talking about mental health. And this is an opportunity to have your voice heard as far as it relates to stigma, access, and things that we need to do as a community to uplift not only the men, but the women in our community who need help with their mental health. And so, hey, listen, Elevating Men is not just a podcast. This is one of the many things that we do. And so follow us along this journey. Before we go, fellas, do you have any last words, final thoughts? How can they get in contact with you if they just have any questions about you or what you do?
Real quick, Nico Baker, is that NL Baker or NI Baker? Because my eyes are, you always see me.
No, that's Nico.
I know. Is that her email? Is that NL Baker at NL Baker 01 or NI Baker 01?
L.
NL Baker. Okay, thank you. Check your email. I think I sent it already.
Perfect. Big Unk, you got anything that you want to leave with the people? How to get in touch with you, man? Tell them about your businesses.
So, man, it's crazy. God has been good to me. I cook for a food truck called Tropical Waters on 23rd Nolan Road. I also own my own construction company called IMP, standing for Improvements Made Possible, but I as well work for another construction company helping him run several crews, and that's called Quality Residential and Mobile Home Repair. Besides that, I'm also a recognized apostle, installed pastor, licensed or an ordained minister, as well as evangelist. I just love God, and I really appreciate this opportunity to push this. This is a wealth of information that could really help the health of the male mental status.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for all your comments, man. You added a lot of value, and you're always welcome on Elevating Men. So whenever you want to come on, just let me know. I'd love to have you anytime, man.
Man, I will most definitely read ahead and be ready for next week. This is great. This is crazy. It really made me reflect on my own self.
Likewise. Well, again, thank all of you for tuning in. We still see the comments. Again, for those of you that are still tuning in, tag your best friend, bring them into this as well. If they catch the live stream, I'm gonna go ahead and post this again tomorrow at noon. So lunchtime, if you're at work, grab your best friend, watch this again. If they put their email address, it has to be during the live stream though. They can get a copy of the book for free and still support Andrew, because he poured a lot into this book. And so you can find it on barnesandnobles.com as well as amazon.com. But listen, we are out of here. We will catch you next week. Same time, same place, Monday night at 8 p.m. Be here. We want to see you. Peace.